Hello, welcome to Babaobaba channel. Today we will going to talk about the strongest metal in the Marvel Universe, Adamantium. We will collect the top 10 characters that have adopted Adamantium as a weapon, either as a part of the body or by the use of an Adamantium-based weapon. When it comes to Adamantium, everyone will definitely think of Wolverine. But actually, apart from Wolverine, there are still other characters who use Adamantium as their weapons. In order not to waste any time, let's take a look at the top 10 characters that use Adamantium. However, let's take an overview of Adamantium's information. Refer to Official Handbook of the Marvel Universe Volume 1 Issue 15. Adamantium was mentioned that Adamantium is a virtually indestructible man-made steel alloy which does not occur in nature and whose exact chemical composition is a United States government classified secret. Adamantium is a series of 3 closely related compounds of iron created through a secret process discovered by the metallurgist, Dr. Myron McLean. It is extremely rigid steel-based alloy that the density is virtually indestructible. Adamantium's molecular integrity makes for an extremely hard metal capable of drilling with greater effectiveness than vibranium. For details of the Adamantium in depth, I will make a clip to tell you once more. Number 10. Victor Crete, or also known as Sabretooth. Many people may not yet know that on one occasion, under unknown circumstances, Sabretooth gains Adamantium skeleton and claws after he was made a member of X-Factor and rejoined the Hound program. Sabretooth appeared during Wolverine's marriage to Viper. He sported new Adamantium-laced bones and claws, as well as an extremely accelerated healing factor, making him much more deadly than usual. However, Sabretooth lost his Adamantium when he failed to defeat Wolverine in a match set up by Apocalypse to see who would be his next horseman. Apocalypse, having siphoned all the metal out of Sabretooth and implanted it into Logan and left Sabretooth for dead. Later, Gambit found Sabretooth dying in a cave in South America. In return for helping Sabretooth recover, he made a deal with him to complete the mission of track down Mr. Sinister. After that mission, Gambit secured enough Adamantium from the Constrictor to keep Sabretooth alive. And later, he is forced to become a member of a relaunched Weapon X program, where his strength is genetically augmented, his healing factor accelerated, and his bones and claws once again laced with Adamantium. Number 9. Todd Arliss, or also known as Tiger Shark. Tiger Shark is a human who has had his DNA modified to include a tiger shark's and Namor's DNA. When he appeared as a member of the Offenders, Todd had Adamantium implants in place of his regular teeth. It is unknown how or when this happened in comic. With Adamantium teeth, it's enabling him to tear and bite chunks out of superhumanly robust individuals the size of Namor or the Hulk. Number 8. Solemn. For the new characters that have just released in the year 2020, Solemn is an Iraqi eye mutant. He were inhabitants of Iraq. He has an Adamantium skin and a talent for seduction. Solemn had superhuman durability because Solemn's skin is comprised of Adamantium. It's like a microfibrous version of chainmail which even Wolverine's claws can't through his skin. Number 7. Mark Spector, or also known as Moon Knight. Many people may already know that Moon Knight's weapon is crescent darts. Originally crescent darts forged out of silver for anti-werewolf use. However, the power levels of his enemies kept increasing, so Moon Knight continually upgraded his own equipment. He retooled silver crescent darts with Adamantium to increase his power and his Kevlar armor to Adamantium armor for better protection. His armor also incorporated a pair of crescent dart throwers mounted on his wrists and a magnetic recoil device for his truncheons. The Adamantium armor retained the two-way radio in his cowl but also included a remote control device for the angel wing in his glider cape. Number 6. Joseph Harrow, or also known as Hammerhead. I believe few people know that this villain will have Adamantium's power on him. Hammerhead is a small-time criminal that worked his way up to having his own crime family within the Magia. During the events of the Civil War, Hammerhead tried to take control yet again of the criminal element in New York City. He used the vacuum left by the incarceration of the Kingpin. Finally, hitman named by the name of Underworld tried to take him out with adamantium bullets. Fortunately, the bullets, while not penetrating his skull, but the hospital he was brought to was unable to treat him. In mid-surgery, the men working for Mr. Negative came in, killed the hospital staff, and took Hammerhead away. Mr. Negative then hit his surgeon, Dr. Trauma, revive Hammerhead, and offered to transplant his brain into a new robotic adamantium skeleton. And that was the beginning of the adamantium power. With adamantium skeleton, he thus became far stronger than ever before. Number 5. Lester, or also known as Bullseye. And Bullseye is one character that had power of adamantium. He is a deadly killer for hire capable of using practically anything as a lethal projectile weapon with flawless accuracy and deadly force. He is one of the most psychotic and sadistic characters in Marvel Universe. For acquiring the power of adamantium. From the event that after returning from yet another imprisonment by Daredevil from work for Kingpin, Bullseye was furious to learn that the Kingpin had chosen Elektra as his assassin in the meantime. That make Bullseye kill her, and that make extremely angry because the time he was a lover of Elektra. Bullseye fought the Daredevil over the New York City skyline. While battle, Bullseye lost his balance and fell, but Daredevil grabbed his hand. However, Bullseye refused to let Daredevil save him and tried to stab the hero. So, Daredevil released his kryptonite, allowing Bullseye to plummet. However, Bullseye managed to survive, but his spine had been shattered and paralyzing him. But, with the help of a Japanese crime lord, Lord Darkwind, Bullseye was then taken to Japan, where Darkwind replaced various bones with adamantium and laced others. It is unclear exactly what bones have been laced, but it has been confirmed that his spine, fists, and skull have adamantium. With the power of adamantium, that make acrobat skill was improved. Bullseye is also able to utilize a range of motion in his acrobatic maneuvers which could be considered impossible for normal humans, and for durability is greatly increased. Number 4. Yuriko Oyama, or also known as Lady Deathstrike. This time, coming to the character Yuriko Oyama, which the daughter of Kenji Oyama, were also known as Lord Darkwind, who brought the adamantium bone to Bullseye. Lady Deathstrike is a supervillain in the Marvel Universe and is most commonly associated with Wolverine and the X-Men. There was one time after she having failed to defeat Wolverine, while tracking adamantium skeleton from Bullseye, who had fled her father's service without repayment until she located Wolverine and confront with him. After that, Lady Deathstrike resolved to transform into a cyborg with a deal with Rita Wayward, or also known as Spiral. That process make healing her facial scars. She possessing superhuman strength and adamantium claws. With her adamantium skeleton and claws, as a result, her bones have been rendered virtually unbreakable. Her fingers have been replaced with 12-inch adamantium claws that she is capable of extending to twice that length. Her claws are capable of cutting almost any known material, with the exceptions of adamantium itself. Her ability to tear through a substance is proportionate to the amount of strength behind her swings. Lady Deathstrike can also hyperextend her fingers and claws to great lengths, impaling targets from a distance. Number 3. Romulus. For this character that looks like Wolverine, that he was born in prehistoric times as one of the Lupin, a tribe of feral humans theorized by the Black Panther to have possibly evolved from canines rather than apes. Romulus was ultimately behind the Weapon X program. Given his great lifespan, and the few instances revealed about his past, Romulus is an exceptional warrior, planner and tactician. After Romulus finished with the Weapon X program, that make his bone lacing with adamantium. As a result, his bones are virtually unbreakable like Wolverine's, and his 4 extra adamantium claws into his backhands, which given their indestructible composition, enable them to cut through almost anything. And number 2. Laura Kinney, or also known as X-23. For X-23 is a product of the Weapon X program that cloned from a damaged sample of Wolverine's DNA. Since she can remember, she was trained to kill Wolverine, however she joined the X-Men instead, and she becoming Wolverine's daughter figure and eventually, his successor. As a clone of Wolverine, X-23 possesses most of his mutant abilities at strength levels rivaling although she and Wolverine are from the Weapon X project as well. But she is different from her father. Apart from her claws, the rest of her skeleton has not been coated in adamantium like Wolverine. As a result, her claws are virtually unbreakable and are capable of cutting almost any substance. Her ability to slice completely through a substance depends upon the amount of force she can exert and the thickness of the substance. Also, since the bones of her hands and wrists are not laced with adamantium, it is likely that the reverberation of her claws could conceivably break her hands with significant force. Notably, she possesses an accelerated healing factor that allows her to regenerate damaged tissue and has allowed her to regrow limbs. This healing factor is believed to be superior to that of Wolverine's. The main influencing factors are the rest of her skeleton has not been coated in adamantium. Though theoretically mortal, her healing factor renders her exceptionally difficult to kill. And finally, number 1. James Logan Howlett, or also known as Wolverine. For the number 1 place, you will definitely be thinking about him, Wolverine. James Logan Howlett is a long-lived mutant with the rage of a beast and the soul of a samurai. Logan's once mysterious past is filled with blood, war and betrayal. He was captured by Weapon X agents to take part in the Weapon X program in post-First World War. While the experiment, Dr. Abraham Cornelius and Dr. Carol Hines then began to examine Logan while he floated in a containment tank. Logan's skeleton, including his claws, was bonded with the indestructible metal known as adamantium, making it unbreakable. Wolverine's skeleton includes 6 retractable foot-long bone claws, 3 in each arm, that are housed beneath the skin and muscle of his forearms. Wolverine could, at will, release these slightly curved claws through his skin between the knuckles on each hand. The bone claws are naturally sharp and tougher than normal human bone, allowing them to, even before they were infused with adamantium, they could penetrate most flesh and many natural materials. The adamantium bonding process which affected his bones effectively transformed them into a new alloy called adamantium beta, which, combined with his healing factor, prevents his adamantium skeleton from interfering with his bone marrow's production of blood cells. Wolverine can unsheath any number of his claws at once, although he needs to keep his wrists straight at the moment his claws pass from his forearms into his hands. When unsheathed, the claws are entirely within his forearms, allowing him to bend his wrists when they are extended. Well, it's over for the top 10 most powerful character of adamantium. How is it? Are there any characters that match what the audience had in mind? But believe that number 1 everyone will think the same, right?